All right, good morning, traders. Today is July 22nd, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. This is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. Let's go ahead and take a look around. All right, I want to thank everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you so much for following my content, subscribing to my content, leaving the thumbs up, the likes, and anything that helps inspire me to continue with my journey in sharing what I'm doing here on the internet. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, today is July 22nd, 2025. Again, my name's John Carignan. Let's go see what we got here. My SPY pivot this morning. 630.35 above it, I'm a bull, below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab 5 are in daily uptrends. SPY, FNGU, QQQ made new all-time highs. Just doesn't get any better than that, all right? SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend, 10-minute uptrend. 10-minute downtrend. 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. Diamond Dow made a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. IWM made a lower low and a lower high, closing below a bullish trap, but over the 17 EMA. Gold and silver, both in uptrends, both made higher lows and higher highs, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. USO in a daily uptrend. USO made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bearish cross, but over the 17 EMA. UNG in a daily downtrend made a lower low and a lower high, closing underneath a bearish cross under the 17 EMA. US dollar index in a downtrend closed near the 97.85 area. SPY Max Pain is 629 with a put to call ratio of about 1.6 puts to each call that expires today at 4:15. Remember, those index options expire at 4:15 while the security options expire right at 4 o'clock. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some charts today. We'll also take a look at how we made some money yesterday. Actually, just go ahead and take a look at how we made money yesterday. All right, we had the instructions yesterday. Look for a green candle on a continuation of that uptrend, all right, that we had left off with over here. And we had green candle. We're looking for something with no topping wick. Remember, we didn't want anything with more wick than body and tail. Okay, we wanted a nice green candle to start the day off. And let me pan over there so you can see it. And let's spread it out a little bit more and pan it over. Spread it out. Nice green candle. Okay, I didn't want any dojis. I didn't want a spinning top. I didn't want a red candle. I needed a green candle to buy into. There we go. First 5-minute candle provided us with nice green candle. Bought into that. And we traded this 5-minute, 10-minute uptrend all the way up until about noon. And then it just kind of consolidated, then rolled over. All right, so we had a nice 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, as you can see. And that's my favorite trade to take, okay? I don't know what else to say. I've been saying it every day. I like 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, all right? I like it when it's inside a 2-hour uptrend. It was inside a 2-hour uptrend. I like it when that 2-hour uptrend's also inside of a daily uptrend, inside of a weekly uptrend, inside of a monthly uptrend, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's exactly what we got, all right? That is exactly what we got. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Okay, you can see here's a daily chart, daily in an uptrend. All-time high anchored VWAP is, let's put one over here, or prior all-time high anchored VWAP right there, all right? You can see price action moving up right there, so there's SPY on the 2-hour chart. Okay, you can see the 3 EMA right here. Okay, 3 EMA is the yellow line over, okay, see the white line, that's the 8 EMA. You can see 3 over the 8. We had a 2-hour uptrend. We had a daily uptrend. We look at this. We had a weekly uptrend. You had a monthly uptrend, and I just showed you the all-time high anchored prior all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, that was exactly what I like to trade every single day. That's what I want. All right, especially in this bullish market. All right, this is very rare. And right now, I want to trade all those 10-minute uptrends that are blasting off over VWAP. Okay, looking for 10-minute uptrends that are cutting away from VWAP. All right, so you can see on the 10-minute yesterday. Okay, we had, see, nice cutting away. See how the candles are cutting away, separating themselves from VWAP. Then we had a pull back, and we cut away a little bit more, and let's pan over, and then they came back to VWAP, and then that was it. All right, so you can see on the 10-minute coming into the close, we had a 10-minute downtrend. So what am I looking for? Continuation of the 10-minute downtrend, probably to fill gap. Maybe they did it in the pre-market. We'll take a look at that later. All right, so the game plan for this morning. All right, let's take a look at the game plan. And let's zoom out, pan over. Okay, go to game plan. All right, game plan for this morning. Let's move all this down. Okay. Drag this down here because this is important stuff right there. Okay, so here's SPY game plan. SPY pivot, 630, 35. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Looking for a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend. What do I don't want? I don't want any tail candles, okay? I don't want a candle that's got way more tail than body and wick. All right? I don't want a green candle. Green candle is not in the 10-minute downtrend scenario here, okay? We want something that is bearish. I want to see bears stepping in and blasting it down further, okay, on that 10-minute downtrend. All right, I'm also looking for no spinning tops. See, like this spinning top kind of shows you equal buyers and sellers. I don't want any little dojis either. Kind of shows me equal buyers and sellers. So I don't want spinning tops. I don't want any big tail candles. All right, I don't want any dojis, and I don't want any green candles. All right, that's not what I'm looking for a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend. We may get a trend change. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's 10-minute. That's the game plan. What do I like? I like 3 days till expiration, Friday options on the multiple of 5. All right, so if price is at 629, I like 630. Puts, 625 puts, 620 puts. All right, on that downtrend. For the calls, I like, 630 calls, 635 calls, 645 calls, 640 calls, okay? I like them $5 to $15 out of the money, all right? It's a little less risk, all right? And you give up some performance with that. If you want the best performing option, it's going to be the 0 DTE, all right? But I'm just telling you, you're putting your whole account up for grabs for the market to take it, unless you've got discipline, all right? If you take this 0 DTE in the money option, you're liable to get 1 or 2 big candles that could just wipe out your account, all right? So I'm just saying, be careful on what you want to do, all right? Think about it. Again, risk. Less risk when you go out of the money, less risk when you go out in time. All right? And if you want more performance, you go closer to at the money and in the money. And if you want more performance, you go closer to 0 in time. All right? That'll give you much better performance than you would with these, okay? But again, you're going to be risking more. Those options cost more. For a reason is because they have higher performance. All right, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP that are breaking away from VWAP, just like I traded yesterday. All right, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP, okay? If I get a 10-minute downtrend that happens to manifest or originate up here, all right, if it breaks the rubber band candle or the pivot, I'd be highly interested in trading it to the downside, okay, long before it gets to the red erases green entry, all right? If I get a 10-minute uptrend that happens to manifest or originate down here, all right, I'd be highly interested in trading it to the upside, as long as it takes out the pivot or breaks a rubber band candle, okay? Long before it hits this green erases red entry right there, okay? We have a green erases red entry over 628.25. We have a red erases green entry underneath 628.65. That is wrong. That's got to be 631. That's supposed to be 55. How does this stuff get changed? All right, got to fix that. Got to fix the other thing. All right. So there's SPY on the 10-minute. 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. Okay. Green erases red over 631.55. Red erases green underneath 628.65. All right, let's take a look at QQQ, see if that one's right. All right, QQQ. Obviously, something got messed up there. This is supposed to be 563.80. Okay, 563.80. QQQ pivot right here is 564.65. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. You got red erases green underneath 563.80. You got green erases red over 566.05. Okay, on the same thing on the QQQ game plan, we like 3 days till expiration, Friday options on the multiple of 5. Okay, we like, all right, 10 days till expiration, Friday options on the multiple of 5. Again, we like them $5 to $15 out of the money. Again, less risk, little less performance, but less risk. All right, on those. That's a QQQ game plan. Again, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. There's QQQ. Let's take a look at this on the daily chart. And you can see QQQ puts in a new all-time high. Drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. SPY. Okay, you can see on SPY. Okay, new all-time high up there. Okay, doesn't get any better than that. All right, drop the mic. Doesn't get any better. All right, FNGU. FNGU, new all-time high for FNGU. Again, drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, for FNGU. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM got a lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish cross or bullish trap and over the 17 EMA on IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow got a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17 EMA, over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP up here in quadrant 4. Again, Diamond Dow holding the higher ground that's bullish, still in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend and bullish up here in quadrant 4. That's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at IWM. Okay, I said IWM is a lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bullish trap over the rising 17, over that all-time high anchored VWAP up here in the upper third. You know what happened yesterday? I lost all of this stuff, came off. It wasn't there, TC2000. I don't know what happened, but it failed me. So I'm adding it all back in yesterday while I'm doing yesterday's video. And, of course, now it's all doubled up today because it seems like they found all of my data and now they're putting it back in. So I'm having to remove all the same stuff that I added in yesterday because it's all doubled up. All right, so that's why I'm taking a little bit of time. See if we got this right. Okay, so there's IWM. Bullish. It's in the upper third. That's bullish. And it's still in an uptrend. Okay? Remember, day before, I think they almost put in a new rally high right there. That's IWM. Bullish in an uptrend. Look at this. Holding the higher ground. That's bullish up there. Let's take a look at technicals. T2122. You can see we waffled back and forth, flying over the buy zone, kind of crop dusting it here. well, going from the buyer's chop zone up to the overbought zone, back to the buyer's chop zone, crop dusting the buy zone again, and then back to the buyer's chop zone. You can see this wild price action right through there, okay? Price action winds up making a lower high in the buy zone, all right? And then we make another lower high in the buyer's chop zone, only to end up the day at the midpoint right here, okay? Notice we were all the way up here at the 100 level, okay? Very rare to see it up there at the 100 level. T21.22. T21.23, okay? On the 15-minute chart, okay? New, okay, I'm going to say it. New rally, not all-time high, new rally high for T21.23 15-minute chart. Still in an uptrend, all right? We got some lows right here. Got a higher low. We got some highs. And we got a new rally high right up there, up over that 200 SMA. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at 3-bar chart. Here's a low. There's a higher low. There's a high, higher high, new rally high for T21.23 3-bar chart. And hanging out and still moving up over that hooking 200 SMA. Nice trend there. Look at all the green dots. It's like nonstop since, well, April 24th, right there. Nonstop. All right? That would be May, June, July. 3 months straight. Almost nonstop. Little break right here. Okay, little pause. But look at price action is moving up and holding that higher ground. Okay, price moving up. And look at it over to the right. That's bullish. All right? When you go up and you come back, that's neutral. Okay? You go up, you give it up, that's neutral. Okay? This is not neutral. This is bullish up there. Okay? You can see the price action. Okay? Moves up and holds the higher ground. Okay? That's bullish. T21.23. Let's take a look at FNGU. Again, up yesterday. Hold the higher ground. That's bullish. So buying from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Okay, little gap up. Never got filled by the bears yesterday. There's your clue. Up and over to the right. FNGU bullish. Up over that hook, that flat 200 SMA. That is bullish. Look at the price action again on FNGU. Let's take this off. Put that on. Let's try a different size. Again, price goes up and over. All right? As opposed to going up and then giving it up. All right? It's not doing that. It's going up and over. That's bullish. So you got T21.23. That's bullish. You got FNGU. That's bullish. Now we watch FNGU. It's got 10 of the most heavily weighted securities inside of QQQ and SPY. All right? That means that whenever those 10 securities happen to move as a pack, they can drag those two indexes right along with them, whether they're going up, sideways, or down. All right, so there's FNGU. Now, SPY has a little bit more freedom from the leash because they've got 500 products in their index, whereas NASDAQ only has 100 products in their index. So they're highly susceptible to making a little bit further move with the T21.23 whenever that is bullish on the 15-minute time frame. So there's FNGU. All right, let's go take a look at the energy sector. All right, let's take a look at XLE. All right, so XLE on the daily chart, yesterday's candle, okay? Lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap, that's bearish. Under the 17, that's bearish. Okay, we were knocking on the door of the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. And that happened, what? This is like the 20th time we knock on the door of the energy all-time high anchored VWAP. And guess what? Rejected again, okay? You asked her out one more time, just one more time, and you're done, right? And she rejected you again. So there's XLE, all right? Closing underneath downtrend line 1, but over downtrend line 2, underneath the midpoint, okay? Let's look at this price action, okay? Not in the upper third, right up here, okay? Because that would be bullish, up here, okay, not in the lower third, okay, that would be bearish down here, okay. We're just kind of waffling around right here at the midpoint. See the midpoint, that dash line right here, okay. So this is the kind of like the neutral zone in between here, okay. That's neutral. Again, price moves up and gives it up, that's neutral. All right, price moves down and gives it up, that's neutral. All right, it's bullish when you can get it to move up and hold the higher ground, that's bullish, or just continue going up, either way. All right, I'll take either one. All right, but I like it when it goes up, holds that higher ground. That's like it's like holding up. I don't know how many of you guys do exercises, but it's like holding a plank for 6.5 hours all day long. All right, it's incredibly hard, right? That's strength. All right, when you see the market do that, hold the higher ground. Okay, notice XLE can't get it done. SPY is getting it done. All right, QQQ is getting it done. T2123 is getting it done. XLE is not. All right, so it's just neutral. Okay, we're still in an uptrend for XLE. All right, we are making higher lows. Here's a low. You can see the series of higher lows right through here. Okay, if we happen to take out this low right here, if we take this low out, okay, we won't have an uptrend anymore because we will have made a lower low. So they will negate the uptrend and convert it to a downtrend if we take out that low. Okay, right now we're in an uptrend because we keep making higher highs. Okay, you can see here's a high right there up over the 17. There's a higher high. Oh, another one up over the 17. Okay, and this one right here, believe it or not, beat by a penny. Not much, but it did. So it's still in an uptrend, all right? There's XLE, all right? Just neutral, but in an uptrend, okay? It's not ready yet, okay? XLE. All right, let's take a peek at USO. All right, USO making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend, all right? Again, can't hold the ground inside the upper third. All right, not in the upper third, not in the lower third, so it's neutral and in an uptrend. Look at it. Got up to quadrant 4. Again, you can see it goes up and gives it up. All right, that's just neutral. That doesn't mean it's bearish. All right, it's just up and gives it up. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, yesterday's candle. Take a look at that. Let's trash all this out. Okay, let's zoom in there. Okay, let's see what yesterday's candle is. You can see you got a lower high and a lower low. You closed underneath a bearish cross, but over the 17 EMA right there. Okay, so there's USO. Neutral and in an uptrend still, all right? And if you look at this from this perspective, they are moving down and holding the lower ground, okay? From this perspective, okay, it looks like a move up and hold the higher ground. Okay, so just neutral. Got two perspectives right there. Okay, it's looking good so far for the bulls. We are up over the 50-yard line and we're up over this 3-year high anchored VWAP. So I'm leaning a little bit. I'm rooting a little bit more for the bulls than I am with the bears for this one. Okay, so there's USO. Okay, neutral. All right, and still in an uptrend, USO. Let's take a look at UNG. Now, UNG is in bad shape. Okay, UNG, see the candle down here? That's quadrant 1, okay? It's in the lower third here, okay? So that's lower third. So all this area down here in the lower third, all of this is bearish right there, all right? Upper third, that's bullish, okay? Notice we go up, okay? Notice we go up and we give it up. Okay, that's neutral right there, but we're giving it up and more. That makes us bearish. All right, so price action, okay? Showing you a head and shoulders. We got the triple top crown right there. Okay, we've got the right shoulder is this double top over here. All right, we've got the left shoulder is this double top right there. All right, you've got the neckline that got challenged a couple days ago. They failed to break the neckline. They went under the neckline, came back and tested. Now it looks like they're heading down to possibly test the all-time lows, which are right here. Okay, all-time lows. All right, so we're showing a head and shoulders pattern. We'll see if that right arm is going to extend down to where the left arm left off, right over here. All right, maybe even further. We'll see. Okay, so that's an all-time low right there. Right there. I think it's like 1250 or something like that. And it's showing you a head and shoulders pattern. All right, you're down there in quadrant 1. That's bearish. Okay, you got a lower high. See the highs? Lower high, lower high, lower high. See them? Lower highs. Okay. Now we got lows. See the low? 4 lower lows down here, and then a lower low. Okay. Okay, so it's in a downtrend. All right. If price took out this high right here, okay, if they took out that high, okay, they could negate the downtrend. Okay, but they failed to do it so far. Okay, if they took out that high, they could have negated the downtrend. Doesn't look like they're going to do it. All right, so there's UNG in a downtrend, bearish. All right, kind of rooting for the bears here on this one. Maybe give me a double bottom, triple bottom down here, and then give me a nice bounce back up. All right, so there's UNG in a downtrend, showing you the head and shoulders. Let's take a look at precious metals. Let's take a look at GLD. Again, you can see GLD. What's it doing? It's doing the right stuff. Again, up and over to the right. Again, that's like planking for 6.5 hours. Okay, it's takes incredible amount of strength to do that. Okay, price action. All right, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. You can see higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. That's always bullish. Over the flat 17, that's bullish. Up here at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Uptrend, you got some lows, you got some higher lows, you got some even higher lows, and some higher lows up here. Okay, so up there, that's bullish up there. Notice they've been up here for 1, 2, 3, like 4 months now, and they're not giving up the area. Okay, they're not giving up. You're not going up and coming back. Okay, notice they're going up and they're sticking there like glue. All right, they are building a launch pad for another launch. That's what it looks like to me. They're constructing the next launch pad. All right, so that's looking good right there. GLD. Let's take a look at SLV. All right, SLV. Okay, you can see they constructed a launch pad, and then they had a blast off right there. Okay, see the launch pad and then a blast off. Okay, so let's take silver. Let's take a look at this new 13-year high yesterday. Okay, I was going to say it doesn't get any better than that, but it does. Okay, it's not the all-time high, but let me just say, new 13-year high, nothing to sneeze at. Okay, so you got an uptrend. All right, you got there's a low. You got a couple higher lows. Okay, you got some highs. There's some higher highs, and then there's a new 13-year high. Okay. Over the bullish trap, over the rising 17. Yes, that's bullish. Yes, that's in an uptrend. Yes, that's at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish on silver. All right, nice work for silver. Bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, take a look at a few sectors. SMH. By the way, Mr. Powell's supposed to speak at 8:30 right about now. Markets could go haywire. They might give you the EKG. We'll see what happens, all right? Here's SMH yesterday. All right, so new all-time, I'm pretty sure that's a new all-time high. Let me make sure, okay? Crosshairs, high, 293.53, 293.33, 293.20, okay? So 293.53 takes it. That's the winner. Okay, that is the new all-time high for SMH. Okay, again, drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, XLK. Okay, new all-time high for XLK. Again, drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than this. All right, Markets are bullish. Okay? Just, if you don't know it, markets are bullish. Okay? You guys should be doubling and tripling and just raking it in right now in this. All right? Again, my favorite's that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. That's inside a 2-hour uptrend. That's inside the daily uptrend. That's inside the weekly uptrend. That's inside the monthly uptrend over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP or the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's my favorite setup. Okay? All right, so there's XLK. New all-time highs. Take a look at XLF. Okay, XLF again. All right, what are we doing here on XLF? See the move up and the hold over to the right. That's bullish. Okay? That's bullish. Up there, quadrant 4. That's bullish. Okay? Yesterday's price action, outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17. That's bullish. Okay? See the consolidation? Consolidation over prior consolidation. That is a bullish environment. Okay? Price action right here. Up over that prior all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, that's bullish. Up there, hold the higher ground, that's bullish. XLF. Okay, quadrant 4, bullish and in an uptrend. IYT. Okay, transports, still in the upper third, that's bullish. Okay, still haven't made any lower lows. Look at price action. Okay, moves up and over to the right. That's bullish. Again, consolidation over prior consolidation is bullish. All right? So you see that. Okay, you got consolidation over prior consolidation. Here's your prior consolidation. This is your current consolidation. Okay? It's not moving up. It's obviously not moving up. See all the red candles? All right, and the 17's kind of flatlined right there. Okay, so that's consolidation over prior consolidation is a bullish environment. All right, so there's IYT. Okay, still in an uptrend. All right, price action because we got some lows. Got a higher low. Got 2 highs right here. Got a higher high. Okay, we're up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish and in an uptrend. And we're over the all-time high anchored VWAP right there, okay? So we got financials, transports, technology, semiconductors, mega caps. We got small caps and mid caps. That's T2123 or IWM, okay? Everything's in an uptrend still, all right? We're bullish, all right? SPY, QQQ made new all-time highs yesterday, all right? We are still bullish, all right? I have targets of 655, and I believe it goes much further beyond that. We'll see what happens, okay? Doesn't mean I get what I have for a target, okay? Nothing is guaranteed, all right? But I have targets up there, and we keep heading closer and closer, all right? Notice we got almost up to 632 yesterday. All right, we were at 626, now we're at 632, and now I think we're back at 626 again, or 628. We'll see. All right, so there's transports, bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at the economic package, and we'll talk about how we're going to trade SPY one more time. All right, for the U.S. dollar is, okay, it's in a downtrend. This is a 3-year low right here, okay? This is major support. Price action broke major support. That's all these valleys, all right, of this consolidation right through here. We broke major support. See price right there, down there? Okay, so we broke major support. We came back, tested it right here. Okay, so we tested it right there, and we failed to close candles up over it. Okay, so that this major support now becomes minor resistance, and of course all of this up here becomes not the one I wanted. All of this up here becomes major resistance up top there. Okay, all these peaks up here. Remember the valleys were the major support. Well, now now the valleys become minor resistance, and the peaks become major resistance up top there. So there's the test right there. You can see we failed, and let's drag this back over. All right, and you can see price action. All right, making lower highs, lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high. See the lower lows, okay? And we closed yesterday around the 97.85 area, okay? Still in a downtrend. We have not made any higher highs, okay? So we're still in a downtrend, okay? Downtrend is good, all right? It sucks for the consumer in us, all right? Because everything's going to cost us more. But for the investor in us, we like it because sometimes it opens up new markets. Having a cheap dollar makes our goods and services more competitive on the global in the global marketplace. All right, so there's the U.S. dollar. Okay, on Max Payne for today 629. About 1.6 puts for every call, and for the calls and puts that expired today, and those expire around 4:15. Remember, those index options expire at 4:15, while the security options expire at 4 p.m. Okay, so we got 1.6 puts for each call. All right. Today, Mr. Powell is going to speak at 8:30. Not sure what he's talking about. Can't see if he's moving the markets yet. I'll take a look pretty soon here. All right, and what else do we have? We got a Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index coming out at 10, and that's it for the rest of the day. Got a Bauman's going to speak, but it doesn't top Mr. Powell. Wednesday, MBA mortgage application, 7 o'clock. Existing home sales, 10 o'clock. Petroleum report at 10:30. Thursday, jobless claims, 8:30. Chicago Fed National Activity Index, 8:30. PMI Composite Flash, 9:45. New home sales, 10 o'clock. And a natural gas report at 10. And that's it for that day. Okay, durable goods on Friday, all right, at 8:30, and a rig count at 1. All right, the main event, okay, this week is going to be tomorrow night. All right, look at this. Tomorrow night, Google, both alphabets are going to report. They have a combined market cap of about 4.6 trillion dollars. Okay, then we got Tesla, $1 trillion. We got IBM Business Machines, or IBM. They're going to report 64 billion. They're going to report tomorrow night. All of this is Wednesday night. Let's take a look at Tuesday. All right, Tuesday, SAP reports tonight, $376 billion. They report tonight. Coca-Cola, $300 billion. They're going to report this morning. Philip Morris, $278 billion, again this morning. Raytheon, or RTX, whatever they want to call themselves today, $202 billion. They're going to report today. They should be doing good, selling all that Patriot missile stuff, all right, and all that national defense. All right, Texas Instruments, $196 billion. That is tonight. They're gonna, and then $185 billion from Intuitive Surgical. That's tonight. Danair Corporation, $136 billion. All right, they're going to report this morning right alongside Coca-Cola and Philip Morris and Raytheon, or RTX. Okay, Chubb International, $109 billion. I think that's transports. I'm not completely sure about that. That could be tech. All right, and then Lockheed Martin, that's defense. All right, that's $108 billion. So a lot of market cap getting reported today and tomorrow. Okay, so here's for today. And then tomorrow, okay, some big headliners, some big market movers, okay? Not to mention, I didn't even go over the others that report tomorrow night. T-Mobile, 284.60. 64 billion, 198 billion. ServiceNow, AT&T reports tomorrow morning, 197 billion. NextEra Energy, 156 billion. GE Vernova, 154 billion. Boston Scientific, 153 billion. Oh my God! And another page. Thermo Fisher, 152 billion. Amphenol, 125 billion. CME Group, I think that's Chicago Mercantile Exchange, 99 billion. Okay, all of that in the morning time. All right, and in the evening time. Okay, so we got a lot of market cap reporting today, tomorrow. Well, actually this week. Thursday, what do we got? Honeywell, 151 billion. They're going to report in the morning. That should be reporting in the evening because they're tech. Total Energies, 140 billion in the morning. Union Pacific, 134 billion in the morning. Blackstone, 121 billion in the morning. Intel's going to report Thursday night, $101 billion on Intel. All right, they're going to report tomorrow night. Not tomorrow night, Thursday night. Okay, Thursday night. Friday, what do we got? HCA Healthcare. Just some familiar names. Nothing here that's going to move the markets. You know these people. Phillips 66, First Citizens Bank shares. You guys heard of these? Southern Copper. Okay. Again, some familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. Like the headliner here, Google, which is going to report tomorrow evening. Okay. Tomorrow evening. All right. Mr. Powell should be speaking today. Maybe it's a testimony up on Capitol Hill. We'll see what happens, all right? Supposedly, I saw it on Twitter. I don't know how real it is. Could be fake news. I don't know. I don't think it's fake news, but supposedly they said he lied. You know, I don't know, all right? I don't know. That's what they say, okay? I don't know. They're saying he lied, okay? I know a lot of people don't like Mr. Powell, okay? But I'm going to tell you, he brought us these market highs. Okay, so I got no reason to complain. All right, done pretty well for me. All right, so there you go. I know a lot of people want rate cuts. I think everybody wants a rate cut. Okay, it's no question about it. All right, but the point is the time right? Okay, so maybe the time's just not right for him yet. All right, maybe he needs a little bit more. All right, a little bit more certainty in order to give us the rate cut. All right, but that is in the pipeline. A couple more rate cuts before the end of the year. We'll see what he wants to do. All right, so there's economic calendar. Did the earnings report? Did the Max Payne? Did the live charts? Again on SPY. Okay, let's take a look at the pre-market. See what's going on. Okay, on the pre-market. Okay. All of this consolidation. If we get a green erases red, okay, right here, up over all this consolidation here today. So anything, if I get some candle closes up over 629.20, okay, that will represent a green erases red opportunity long before, okay, this one up here. All right, so I will look for a 10-minute uptrend to manifest up here, green erase red, candles closing. Probably need two of them to close up here. All right, I want to see some rubber band candles get broken. All right, on the game plan for SPY. Okay, so you have a green erases red. All of this consolidation would be a breakout to the upside on 10-minute chart. So over 629.20, looking for candle closes up there. Get a couple of them, and then we might have ourselves a nice 10-minute uptrend back to make some new all-time highs. We'll see what happens. All right. We have a red erases green. All right. And, of course, we got consolidation under consolidation here. That's a bearish environment right here. Okay. But right now, looks like they're possibly going to wipe out all of the consolidation with a breakout to the upside. All right, so don't get duped. All right, there's a possibility they go up and then come all the way back down. All right, look for 2 or 3 candles. Look for them to hold the higher ground up there, okay, on SPY for that 10-minute uptrend. All right. So there's SPY again. You've got a green erases red up over 629.20. Again, look for a couple candle closes. All right, get some confirmation going. Don't get duped. All right, only to have them roll it over back to the downside. Okay, that's it for me for today. All right, and I'll be back in about 40 minutes and we'll open up the markets. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.